Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Crime is down, according to the 2016 crime statistics. We've got the details straight ahead on our news.
The Chief Justice officially opens the legal year. Find out what was said straight ahead.
The Prime Minister says regardless of what anyone has to say, the government has done an outstanding job. That story coming up.
The Bahamas reaches an agreement with the FAA that could save the country millions of dollars.
Possible strike action could be in the making here at the Lynden Pinland International Airport. That story is coming up straight ahead.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, crime is down and so is murder, according to the 2016 crime statistics, which were released today by Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade. In fact, decreases were shown in nearly every category of crime when compared to 2015. Dana Smith reports.
The Commissioner of Police today praising the latest crime statistics as very encouraging. Overall, crime is down 26% and murder is down 24%. Greenslade said 2016 was an extremely productive year for police, and their collaborative efforts resulted in extremely good dividends. Overall, serious crimes dropped by more than a quarter, a decrease the likes of which hasn't been seen in years.
For the first time since 2004, crime is down overall in the Bahamas significantly by 26%. Since 2004, we have never seen in this Royal Bahamas Police Force the significant decrease in overall crimes that we experienced in 2016.
The significant overall decrease was influenced by decreases in nearly every category of crime, with murders dropping 24%. There were 146 murders in 2015 compared to 111 last year. However, attempted murder rose by 30%, 26 cases last year compared to 20 in 2015. Rape is down 18%, and attempted rape is down by 6%, but unlawful sexual intercourse rose by 17%. Armed robbery is down 19%, and robbery is down 13%, but attempted robberies rose by 25%. Crimes against properties dropped by 29% overall, with burglary, housebreaking, shopbreaking, stealing from vehicles, and stolen vehicles all seeing decreases. Greenslade, however, took particular note of the drop in murders.
That's a difference of 35 bodies less. I believe that deserves some kind of acknowledgement.
Last year, 89 murders took place in New Providence, 18 in Grand Bahama, and 4 in the Family Islands. Greenslade noted there are deaths that haven't been classified as yet, though those cases are few.
When we speak to that 111 figure of murders that are not classified as murders, that are before Her Majesty's coroner, and there are 1 or 2 of them that cannot even be classified because no one's reported anybody missing or dead. The remains skeletal has been around for so long that you couldn't tell other than it's human bones. The point is there's no nexus to anything. So you have 1 or 2 cases like that.
Greenslade also noted the force continues to face problems with rogue officers, revealing 13 officers were fired from the force.
I had to send home what I call a significant number of rogue police officers, and I make no apologies for it. 13 officers who were frauds in my view. I'm going to repeat it, frauds. Wore our uniform under false pretense, with criminal ideas, behaved in an unethical fashion, ceased to become efficient police officers, and betrayed my trust and the public's trust. I sent them home. And I took your uniform, Bahamian public, I took your uniforms away from them.
Nonetheless, Greenslade said the stats are a clear indication that, as a people, we've done extremely well. But he said he's not satisfied, and there's one thing in particular that's very disturbing to him.
There are some young men, predominantly young men, in this community who have no fear of anyone or anything. They have no respect for themselves, no respect for anyone else, no respect for Almighty God. And they would take a gun, put it to the head of another human being, pull the trigger several times, leaving in their nasty, evil ways, a dead body.
Notwithstanding the challenges, Greenslade said he's confident police will continue to make good progress in 2017. Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
In other news, dozens of lawyers and senior members of the judiciary were on hand for the official opening of the legal year this morning. Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson, QC, once again touted the success of swift justice, claiming that the conviction rate doubled since 2012. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Attorney General touted the successes of the judicial system over the past 4.5 years, highlighting those conviction rates.
My Lord, the administration of justice has seen a major transformation over the past 4 years as a direct result of swift justice.
Maynard Gibson's comments came after the annual church service at Christ Church Cathedral, which was followed by the procession of justices who made their way to the Supreme Court by marching down Bay Street. The AG says that the conviction rate for 2016 was 67%. That's compared to 31% in 2012. That's also up from a 64% conviction rate reported in 2015.
The new process for the review of files before persons are charged has resulted in a 67% conviction rate, which has more than doubled from 2012 when it was 31%.
As it relates to murder convictions, the AG says the conviction rate in 2016 was 75%. She also said the number of voluntary bills of indictments increased last year.
The time to present a VBI has decreased to 67 days in 2016, down from 344 days in 2012. In pursuit of justice, the team of prosecutors in the Office of the Attorney General has been working diligently to move cases forward swiftly. I am proud to say that the new systems and having 10 criminal courts sitting concurrently resulted in 110 cases being heard, more cases being heard in 2015 than in 2012.
Now, the AG insists the improved conviction rate was a result of a number of programs implemented in the past year aimed at not only getting cases heard quickly, but also building strong cases before taking them to trial.
We think that persons should be charged with offenses only if the prosecution believes that based upon the evidence at the time of charge, a reasonable jury will convict. With the leadership of the Director of Public Prosecutions, collaboration with the Royal Bahamas Police Force and other justice system stakeholders, this new approach and these dramatic results will make our streets and homes and communities safer.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. A little later, we'll tell you what the Chief Justice had to say about the independence of the judiciary. Well, the government of the Bahamas has done an outstanding job over this term, according to Prime Minister Perry Christie. Citing a number of issues and circumstances that were resolved under his leadership, Christie today telling reporters that he hopes the Bahamian people would appreciate the hard work his cabinet has done. Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
We're not far from the next general election, and while making a major announcement at his office today, Prime Minister Perry Christie veered a bit off topic, saying this government has a lot to be proud of. The Prime Minister said members of his government read and they listen, all while they attend to their duties as members of Parliament. So when there's criticism of his government's performance, here's how they view the job they've done.
We believe that regardless to what has been said and what is believed by some, that we have done an outstanding job for and on behalf of the Bahamian people.
The general election must be called by May. Christie said he believes the government must use this time to convince people why his government feels they've done an outstanding job.
My colleagues know that we are unable to control opinions of the written press, nor should we be. People have the right to arrive at their own conclusions and their own recommendations. All I would urge my colleagues to understand is that we have a responsibility for ensuring that the people of the Bahamas understands the truth as we see it.
Christie said that must be done so that there is balance. He said once people see things the way they do, the electorate would be able to decide when it's time to hit the polls. But he said the government has an obligation when it comes to that point.
To ensure that whatever assets we have as a government to enable people to arrive at a fair and just decision about events in their countries, we do not hesitate to use them to the maximum advantage to enable people to have access to information such as this, what we have done, such as Bahama, what we have done.
He said they must do that before the information is clouded by negative political influence. Now, the Prime Minister said in describing his feeling going into this next election, he wouldn't necessarily use the word confident.
The people of the Bahamas will see that we have earned the right for their respect in how we've gone about governing, and that we have earned their confidence in their being able to determine that we ought to be given an opportunity to form a new government after the next general election.
Reporting for our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, the Bahamas, for the first time ever, is expanding its airspace to match its maritime boundaries. Years of negotiations today culminated in the announcement of an agreement reached between the Bahamas government and the United States Federal Aviation Authority. Prime Minister Perry Christie says a final agreement is expected to govern the terms and conditions of the FAA's management of Bahamian airspace for a period of 10 years.
It is expected the arrangement will provide for the first time for the collection of overflight fees by the Bahamas from aircraft transiting Bahamian airspace. The FAA will be paid for providing air traffic management services during this period.
Christie says in the last 3 years alone, Bahamas Air has paid more than $1 million in overflight fees. He says the overflight fees will be set by the Bahamas government. Transport and Aviation Minister Glenys Hanna Martin says talks have been going on since 2014.
Okay, well, the arrangement is that for the first 10 years, the Americans, the FAA, will, under a management agreement with the government of the Bahamas, manage the airspace. In the meantime, we have committed to building capacity locally in the country so that we are able to build capacity to manage our own airspace. Currently, we do not have the capacity. So the 10-year arrangement is necessary, and it's a mandate because it's the only way it could happen.
The agreement, once in effect, will call for the hiring of more aviation professionals like air traffic controllers and the upgrade of equipment. Government advisor Sir Baltrin Bethel says the exemption of overflight fees for Bahamian aircrafts is only the initial good news.
The government of the Bahamas will begin to collect fees from flights of aircraft from other countries which fly within airspace.
The Bahamas Airspace Agreement traces back to one forged between the U.S. and the United Kingdom back in the 1950s. Still to come on our news, possible industrial action is brewing at Linden-Pinling International Airport. An independent judiciary, a hot topic at the opening of the legal year. And Freedom Farm comes alive with a much-needed sponsorship. That's coming up when our news returns.